Moving fast in Miro. This video is broken down into 3 parts: shortcuts, navigating the canvas, and customizing the creation bar. A few things to note before we get started. This demo was recorded on Windows, so Mac users use Command instead of Control or Option instead of Alt. I'm using a physical keyboard with a mouse with a wheel. Trackpad or touchscreen users use gestures instead. Virtual keyboard users, multi-key shortcuts may not work. And if you're brand new to Miro, head over to academy.miro.com and check out the Miro for Beginners series. Part 1. Shortcuts. Shortcuts are key combinations that replace extra clicks. They help you stay in the flow, save time, and reduce the back and forth with your mouse or other input device. And using shortcuts means less time searching through menus and more focus on your ideas. There's a few places you can find a list of shortcuts in Miro, so here I'm on the board, and on the bottom right corner, if I go down to Help and Resources, then we have keyboard shortcuts. You can also use F1, there's your first shortcut, to see a list of shortcuts, or you could head over to the Miro Help Center at help.miro.com and search for shortcuts to find a full list. Another shortcut to launching apps in Miro is the command palette. If you're not familiar with the concept, think of it as a universal search. Instead of clicking through menus, just start typing what you want to do and Miro pulls up the right action instantly. You can launch the command palette in Miro with the Control or Command K action. So imagine right now I want to launch the layers feature in Miro. I'm going to hit Control K. I'm going to start typing layers, and I've only typed in the first 2 letters, and there it is, and it's highlighted, so I could push enter. So to demonstrate this really quickly, I'll just Control K, type LA, and push enter. And there's the layers sidebar to the right. So if you want to be faster, use the shortcuts. If you're new to shortcuts, start small, learn 1 to 2 you'll use daily. For example, in Miro, sticky note. There you go. And learn and practice them everywhere else you can. And why? Because they'll save you time and help you stay focused. Part 2. Navigating the canvas using the Alt/Option 1 and 2 combo. Has this ever happened to you or someone you know? You're on a board and it looks empty. Oh, wait. Up here, I think I see something. The fastest way to kind of reset and get everything back into view is to use the Show All action or the shortcut Alt-1. So this adjusts the board to the right location in zoom so that everything on the board is back into view. So no matter where you are or what you're doing, Alt-1 will always bring you back with everything in view. Now let's say you wanted to zoom in on a frame, like action items here. Maybe you put your cursor here and you start to zoom in with your mouse wheel. Maybe you use the frame sidebar. So down here in the canvas controls bar at the bottom right, here's the frame sidebar entry point, or Control Shift F, and you select the frame. Now, a couple problems here. One might be the frame you're looking for is further down the list, so you're scrolling anyways to try to find it. Or maybe you've got frames with no names because you like the cleaner look of that. Instead, we're going to use Zoom to Selection using Alt-2. So I select the frame and I use Alt-2 to zoom in. Now I can Alt-1 to go back to Show All. I could select another frame, zoom in, Alt-1 to show all, Alt-2 to zoom in, Alt-1 to show all. So toggling back between these lets me move very quickly between objects. And you may be noticing when I select the item and I zoom in on it, of course we're seeing the context menu open, so you can get rid of that by pushing escape. So if I zoom out, select, zoom in, and escape really quick, that hides the selection. And this will also work with the selection of objects and zoom so that all of the selected objects are in view. So let's say down here in this wrap up frame, we know we have some stickies, we want to see them. If I click and drag to select those, now I Alt-2 to move in. I can jump back out, I can select them, and I can move in. I can hit escape to get rid of the context menu. But what about if you have a frame that's locked, and it was locked as a group. So right now when I select this one frame, all of these frames are being selected. If I Alt 2, it's not zooming into that specific locked object. It's showing all of them in view. Well, here's one last tip. You can double click on a locked object, even if it's grouped with other ones, to zoom in on it. So if I double click on this frame, I'm back in right on that frame. Alt 1 to show all, double click on this frame, Alt 1. Over here, I've got these circles are all locked as a group, but I could double click to zoom in on just the one locked item. Part 3, customizing the creation bar. First, let's walk through the Miro board UI. The top left, we have the board bar. Top right, we have the collaboration bar. The bottom right, we have the canvas controls bar. At the top left, under the board bar, we have create with AI. The bottom left, we have the undo and redo controls. By the way, those can be hidden if you'd like. And finally, we get to the creation bar. So let's break this down quick. The top, we have the select tool, and note this cannot be unpinned or moved. Then we have our pinned apps. Then we have the most recently used app. And finally, we have the entry point into the more apps and integrations. So we're going to focus in here on this area of the creation bar, which is where the pinned apps are. So by default, Miro will have pinned some apps for you, but we can change this. And why would we want to do this? Well, it's because of a shortcut that many people don't know, which is that the number keys 1 through 9 will activate the first 9 apps in your creation bar. So because slot 1 is always reserved for the select tool, the real flexibility starts at slots 2 through 9. What this means is that we could pin our most used apps there and launch them instantly with one key press. And this brings us to my customization strategy. What we're going to do is only pin apps that do not have a shortcut assigned to them. And we're only going to pin apps with no app panel in spots 2 through 9. And this is important because if an app has a panel that opens, like Google Images, for example, you're already going to have to be over at that panel to interact with it. So we're going to use spots 2 through 9 for apps like the timer, for example, that do not have a panel that opens over on that side creation bar. And for your reference, here's a list of apps that already have a keyboard shortcut. So as you can see in this example over here on the left, having these apps here like text being here in sticky note and comment and frame are a waste because we can already execute those by just pushing a keyboard button. So let's get to it and customize. So here I am signed into an account that I have not customized my creation bar yet. And here's what I want to end up with. I want to have these 8 apps here be in these spots because I want to be able to push 2 through 9 and execute them at any point while I'm on the board. And after those spots, I'm going to continue on with other apps that may or may not have an app panel that opens on the side. I'm going to start by right-clicking and unpinning. Okay, so I've unpinned everything, and now I want to start with adding diagram. And it's all right if you don't do these exactly in order because you can click and drag them. So I'm going to pin this one. And now you can see if I did want to change the order, I can just click and drag. So I'll continue on adding the rest of these. Okay, so I've got everything pinned. So as you can see, when I hover over here, I've got diagrams, slides, timer, poll, etc. The reason why I'm saying put any of these apps up here that don't need to have you interact with the side panel is so that you can instantly use the app. So let's look at this. Let's say I'm working away and I want the timer. So right now I just push 4, timer launched. Or if I need a poll, I can just push 5 and click. 6, alignment scale, and click. Flip card, 8, I've got a flip card. And now any of these apps down here where I was already going to have to go over and click on them, but interact with the panel, maybe do a search, like Google image search. I'm already there, so we're not gaining much by putting it in one of these spots. It's going to be more efficient that if we push a button, one of these 2 through 9, and have instant access to one of these right where our cursor is. We can just use the app right away. So to recap, Use shortcuts, try the Alt/Option 1 and 2 combination, and customize your creation bar to gain quicker access to your most used apps. Thanks for watching.